This is an incredibly long intro, so we're just going to skip over that. Frankly, I don't know what is going on in most of this game. Alright. So, technically I'm doing one player, two controllers for this. And I'll explain more on that in a bit, but this is going to be a little unusual because the right button on my D-pad stopped working for this. It's only for this game, not for any other game. Whatever, I'm gonna blame PJ. So, let's get started. Now, there's a reason I'm going to Area 3 first, and I'll explain that in a bit. But first, what the two controllers are for. Obviously, I'm shooting with the Super Scope, and with the controller, you can move Yoshi around. So I can get him to jump, I can get him to duck, and move side to side, but I can't move him to the right, because controller issues. So I guess this would be like, I don't know, maybe one player, 1 7/8 controllers? There it is. Okay, that Fire Flower, in this game, it's actually a power-up that allows you to hold down fire and get more time with rapid fire. Because as your power gauge goes down, your fire rate goes down. Now I intentionally take that hit because it forces him to stand still. If I shoot down the boomerangs, he'll start moving around again and just makes him a slightly harder target. So from a speedrun perspective, we're about to fight the worst boss in the game right off the bat. I do not remember this Koopa's name. Okay, so far... I missed it. Possible to just hit her right away. So, Bo Koopa? I can't remember her name. She just appears in random pipes, and I have to pray to whatever you find holy that the anvil happens to be above the pipe when she comes out of it. So I guess it's good for speedrunning, because if you do bad at this part, or you get a bad pattern at this part, you can just reset right away. It doesn't happen later in the game. But this fight can take anywhere from... Okay, good. That fight can take anywhere from under a minute to about 5 minutes, depending on how lucky you are with the pattern she appears out of the pipes. So, as for what is happening in this game, I saw a little bit of the intro earlier, so from what I've gathered, there's this place called Jewelry Land with a prince and a king who I think got kidnapped, but I don't really know. And, okay, I didn't want to jump there. And Bowser also stole a bunch of their jewels, so we're trying to get him back and rescue them. Something like that. Now, something else I'm trying to do as I go through this game is... Okay, now he's jumping when I press right. I have no idea of all the times for this to happen. So I'm not trying to shoot every enemy, because you might have noticed that anytime I shoot something, the game starts to lag. So I'm trying to pick and choose where and when I shoot in order to have the game lag as little as possible. Most of the bosses in this game are fairly straightforward. It's just a matter of finding what the weak point is, though it's usually the largest thing on them. And I have no idea what that power-up does, but it makes Yoshi flash random colors. I think it's invulnerability, maybe? Also, the hitboxes on a bunch of these bosses don't make a whole lot of sense. You're supposed to just shoot Mohawk Koopa there, right in the head, but sometimes you have to shoot off to the side of him, otherwise the shots don't register. Also, using items prevents a little extra time from happening from the score rolling down. The exception to that is if I have the clock power up, because that makes the time bonus longer. So I just hold on to it as an item anyway. So what I'm going to try and do in most of this run is hang to one side, in this case the left side because I don't have much of a choice, and just try to shoot things that will sort of come near me. Enemies behave very differently across different parts of this game. The Goombas will usually track you fairly well. Same goes for the Flying Koopas. I assume that's what they're called, I think. And we'll get to some enemies later that don't really track Yoshi at all. The fire doesn't really track Yoshi much. So if I could find just a quick path to go past them, I'll do that. But things like the Goombas and the Koopas, I'll have to shoot most of them down. Now, I went to level 3 first because that's where the Firefly card was. There are only 2 of those in the game, and the other one doesn't appear until level 7. If you try just going to level 7 immediately, the Fire Flower power-up will not appear. And I think it doesn't appear until you get to the second half of the game. So it's better to just do the levels in order and wait for the Fire Flower to appear in World 7. This is another kind of strange hitbox. You're supposed to shoot the middle thing when it opens up, but the hitbox for it is kind of off to the side. This is another advantage of doing one-player, 2 controllers, is you can move Yoshi out of the way. If you were just doing this with the Super Scope, Yoshi would be stuck in the middle, and if he was blocking your shot, you just have to try and shoot through him. Which actually, you can shoot Yoshi in the back of the head, and it does damage you. And instead of that smarmy little smile, he'll look back at you and frown like, "What are you doing?" I may or may not do that intentionally a couple of times throughout this run. Because, you know, Yoshi has to know his place. So about my only being able to move left, that's going to be a problem here, because you can fall in the water, and it does waste a significant amount of time. Most time losses in this game are pretty minor, but falling in the water is one of the larger ones. Hopefully you do not have to see just how much time I will lose. Okay. My shooting arm gets a break. So, about the whole not wanting to fall in the water thing, we're just gonna fall in the water anyway. It's okay to fall here, but anywhere else, you know, the game just doesn't have any of it. Also, I would like to remind everyone that this isn't something that Nintendo outsourced to somebody else. This was internally developed for the Super Scope. This is a particularly frustrating area because sometimes the bloopers don't spawn from very far away, it'll just be right on top of you immediately and you'll get hit. Okay. Now, bloopers are gonna spawn around the bend in 3, 2, 1. There they are. You know, I usually get hit by at least one of those, but I guess luck was on my side tonight. Another thing about getting hit by enemies, sometimes if they hit you at just the right angle, they can bounce you off the wall and give you a little acceleration forward. But usually I'm not that fortunate. It's also incredibly hard to try and set up something like that to get intentional boost. So I usually just try to avoid taking damage whenever possible. Oh, I wasn't even paying attention. Which Koopa was that? I don't know, I haven't been keeping track. Okay. The good news is I don't have to worry about falling in water on this stage. The bad news is I'll have to worry about it on other stages. Now this, just generally speaking, is not a particularly difficult game. The first time I played this, I got through it in about an hour. But there's another mode to this game. In fact, a couple Super Scope games have this, but there's an extra quest mode where all of the level maps change, the enemy placement changes, and you have less time to get through each stage. Oh, what you just saw was something I'm going to try and do whenever I can, which is anytime an enemy's on the ground, I can usually just jump over it. That means less shooting, which means less lag, which means slightly faster time. Okay. That guy's much easier to deal with when I get the final addition to the power meter. Just for the record, if I do jump at the wrong time, Yoshi will not launch forward, he'll just fall into the sand pit and I'll have to do the jump again. Tremendous waste of time. Now this Koopa has a little quirk about him. He will try to get out of the hat, and there's a little moment where he reaches his hand up to hoist himself out. And if I hit his hand, that'll force him to stand up a little earlier. It's a very small hitbox, though. It's also kind of random when he decides to do this, so he's actually wasting quite a lot of time by doing the hop to the side every other time. So, question for the Twitch chat, what is your favorite Koopa Kid? Has it shown up yet? And if not, what kind of mechanical device do you think it's going to be piloting? If any. It is possible to jump over the bob-ombs, but they explode as you jump over them, so it's usually safer to just get hit by green shells, I guess. It's usually safer to just shoot them before they get anywhere near you. Now there is an audio cue associated with that jump, you can probably hear it. I have my game volume kind of low, so it's a little difficult for me to hear. Also, you can do this, and just change the path you're going down. And that's the end of the detour. Yeah, changing paths really doesn't do very much to affect your time, because it's for such a short distance that you're actually on a different path. Now this guy is miserable to fight because I've fought him several times and I still can't tell where exactly his hitbox is. I think it's on the joints for the arms, but it's also kind of on his body, but it's kind of not. Then again, it's also the arms itself, except for when you get past a certain point. Okay, now this is a little easier, because the hitbox on the outside tentacles is a little bit more generous. Gotta keep Yoshi humble. Which one's that? Is that Iggy Koopa? That might be the one that I remember. I don't know, I honestly don't usually play Mario games. It's not that I don't like Mario, I'm just utterly indifferent to Mario. I have no strong feelings one way or the other. I lost the jump pattern there. It is possible to just jump over everything in that sequence. Alright, we got the final power-up, so our power bar is completely filled. That'll make some of the upcoming boss fights a little bit simpler. Well, not really this one, because it keeps darting off screen. Ideally, it will only go off screen once through the first phase. Okay. This is already less than ideal. No! Damn it. Okay. Only went off screen twice. That's not great, but it's not awful. When it gets up to like 4 times it darts off screen, then it's really bad. So this might be a quick phase 2. Yeah, pretty quick phase 2. Shoutouts to my mouse arrow for being over the timer the entire time. That's the king, I think. King of Jewelry Land, which... Has Jewelry Land been in any of the other Mario games? Or was it just this one-off thing? Oh, this is probably my least favorite mini-boss in the game. Because it doesn't seem bad now, but when it gets down to just the one flame, it becomes really hard to hit. Okay, good. Usually it darts off screen and gets an attack in on Yoshi, but that time my aim was true, so it didn't happen. Oh, I should have noted this earlier, but Yoshi is automatically going on his own path for right now. The best you can do when you have the controller is make minor adjustments to his path. And usually, what I do is I force him to the sides. So if you see him running down the middle of the path and just making a casual turn to the right, that is not me. Now, this guy teleports anywhere from once to twice in his first phase. It might just be superstition, but I think that he teleports less if you aren't shooting right away. Okay, now for phase 2. Now he can target anywhere from 2 to 4 times. And again, I do not care whatsoever for the well-being of Yoshi. I think this and the one Koopa fight popping out of the pipes with the anvil flying overhead are the two longest ones, other than the final boss fight. Or at least it certainly feels like it. Okay, now for my second least favorite stage in the game. Now, granted, I haven't played a lot of Mario games, but I thought that boos were supposed to hide their faces and not attack you when you're looking at them. So, I guess what I'm really asking is Yoshi's Safari canon or not? So, the way the boos operate in this level is you shoot them once, they hide their face, and then after about a second, they'll start attacking you again. So you can't just shoot them right away, you have to kind of time it so you can shoot them and then move past them. So far, this is a relatively smooth haunted house. Oh, a little bit of lag there. Not too much to worry about. This is also one of the longer stages. Not counting the boss fight, I just mean just the on-rails just running through the map portion. This is one of the longer stages. Because there's 2 floors. Also, the audio cue for jumping, at some point, I don't know if it's this level, but at some point it'll just stop playing. And here they expect you to shoot the spiky things as they come at you, but you can just jump over them and focus entirely on the Lakitu. That's one of the few enemy names I remember, Lakitu. Okay, so we are almost through this. This is an extremely long level. The bad thing about this is, so far there hasn't been a way found yet to skip any of the stages. So I would absolutely skip this one. Okay, Boo here is a simple boss fight, you just gotta hit him in the mouth. Unfortunately, he can only take 1 damage at a time. Okay, so far he hasn't done this thing where he'll disappear and you just can't damage him at all. Oh, wait, never mind. I knew I shouldn't have said that. Kind of an annoying phase of this fight. But now there's a second phase. He becomes 3 different Boos, and you gotta shoot the one that has its tongue sticking out. Fortunately, every time it resets its phase, the one with the tongue sticking out is always at the top. So that just makes the fight really simple when you get to that point. We're very, very nearly there. Except we're not. There's still 3 more stages. This is an alright stage. Just that the background for it's kind of boring. Also, Computer Yoshi has no idea how to deal with speed boosts. Alright. It's a fairly short level. Now, for this boss fight... let's see if I get it. Okay. It's possible to interrupt his ground stomp. So if he lands, then he causes the screen to shake and I can't shoot him for a couple of seconds. So it's really critical that I interrupt that attack. Awesome, he didn't do it once. I'm not counting the one that he did at the beginning of the fight, because I couldn't shoot. Alright, so I said that the Boo Haunted House was my second least favorite stage of the game. This is my least favorite stage in the game. There are no borders, and I can fall into the water on both sides. And as I mentioned before, I cannot move to the right. Which means it's going to be very hard for me to dodge some of the things I need to dodge. I think other than the Pipe and Anvil level, this is the Run Killer stage, and unfortunately, it's right near the end. I mean, sort of, because you can choose to do this level earlier, but why would you want to do this level earlier? No, 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 no. Ah! I knew that was going to happen. Usually I consider it a good run of the stage if I only fall in the water once. 2 is average. 3 is a reset. Now, this boss is more time-consuming than anything else, because it's another boss where you can only get one hit on it at a time. So it's going to rotate through 4 of those Koopas. Fortunately, you can hit it as it is submerging and as it is coming out of the water. Unfortunately, you can't damage it while it is switching Koopas. Okay, now for phase 2. Now we have to hit the actual head of the ship when it opens its mouth, because sometimes it just doesn't feel like it. Ideally, it would do what it's doing right now, right at the beginning of the fight, and it wouldn't move side to side at all. Okay, that took a little longer than I would have wanted. But the good news is, the worst is over. Alright, now the final act. So So this is going to consist of one of these normal stages, and we're going to have a quote-unquote boss rush, but it's really just the mini-bosses, and then we'll get into the final fight. I keep... Anytime you see me jumping, that's me hitting right on the D-pad. I may just have to get a new card at this point. Whatever, Yoshi Safari isn't that expensive if you just get cartridge only. Yet another reason that if you're going to start running Super Scope games, this actually isn't a bad choice for a way to get into it. I mean, it's kind of long compared to other Super Scope games, but it's really simple to learn. So I hope you're looking forward to what's coming up after this. I believe it's Do-Re-Mi Fantasy? I may catch a bit of that, assuming I don't just immediately slip into unconsciousness after completing this run. Because I do have work later today. Alright, mini-boss time. Oh, I should have explained that earlier. Those boxes that appear after you defeat one of these guys, they always appear right in the middle. So you can kind of plan out your shot to save a little time just cracking it open as soon as possible. We're almost there. We just got the fire chain. Alright. Final boss. And what else would it be but Mecha Bowser? Now I'm going for his left side first, because I don't know if it's just my TV or the way I'm positioned, but sometimes when I try to do shots to the left side, they just won't register. Should be destroyed pretty soon. Right, now I gotta go for the hands again. Okay, good pattern, he moved to the right. Fortunately, when he does that stop, there's nothing I can do. I can't jump to avoid it or anything. Alright, now I gotta hit him in the mouth, except the hitbox isn't his mouth, it's actually kind of up near his nose. Alright, time is not quite yet because I still have one more input to do later. And that score cannot scroll fast enough. And done. Sub 40, I'll take that. So I think that's Prince Pine. I think. Oh, that's another thing. This is I believe, the first game outside of Japan which referred to Princess Toadstool as Princess Peach. Then in the other games, they kind of went back to Toadstool, and then they finally just said, whatever, just call her Peach. So, I'm not gonna lie, this ending sequence goes on for a really, really long time. And unfortunately, I can't use the fire button to skip through this. So, all those precious gems that we spent so much time gathering for these guys, just gonna throw them into the sky and hope for the best. Thinking of maybe doing this on hard mode at some point. Not really sure. But this has been Yoshi Safari. Shoutouts to Gentatsu 2 for getting people's hopes up and saying Yoshi's Island instead. Oops. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and continue watching throughout the week. There are lots of games far better than this coming later in the week, and coming right after this game, actually. So, thanks for watching, everybody, and that'll do it for me.